Hello, everybody. Today I'm honored to sit down with Dr. Malcolm Warren. Dr. Warren is a former Marine, chiropractor, and expert in occupational medicine. We talk about numerous topics following Fukushima and radioactive effects to California wines. We talk about food quality here in US, deeper power behind the scene that controls everything, aka metrics. We talk about COVID and its vaccines, and different topics that was talked for the first time on this podcast. Due to the length of this episode, we decided to divide this episode into 3 shorter episodes. Thank you and enjoy it. Cheers. And see what we have today here. So you picked this bottle from the wall. It's a Chateau Jusrus. It's a bottle from Margaux 2018. One of my favorite region and bottle. So I appreciate you for that. Do you like Margaux?
I do. My thing is, it's been, actually, let me make sure I wand here.
Oh, let's do it. What is that?
So this is the wine wand.
What it does?
And it removes the sulfites and
Nice.
some of those nasty things from the wine that are responsible for headaches and other unpleasant effects. However, I'm not very sensitive to sulfites. I mean, we detox all the time, my wife and I. However, she is.
Oh, she is?
Yeah, her
She
joints
has
will
an
get
allergy?
achy. Yeah, I guess you could say that. The joints get achy after drinking wine and occasionally headaches. So I found these guys because, well, with wine, I just don't like chemicals. I don't do drugs and weird things. So I don't like the idea of sulfites in the wine, and not just the naturally occurring. It's sodium metabisulfite, which is a little bit different. And so what it does is it builds up in your body, and it causes premature aging, just all this stuff. It really upsets your liver. So I just don't like it being there. So I use these guys. It pulls it out. Works great. I mean, I tested it out on her. Don't tell her I'm experimenting on her. But she can enjoy wine now as long as we use the wand.
Yeah.
And she's totally fine. Some of my friends I've used it on, they were having just some issues, stomach issues, GI issues with the wine. Sometimes people will get diarrhea and things associated with, especially red wine. Red wine has higher concentrations of sulfite than white. So a friend of mine and I were out at dinner. He's like, Doc, I can't do that. All the wine is yours. I'm like, dude, no, man, we're doing some steaks. You gotta have something. He goes, I'm telling you, man, you make me drink that wine, you're cleaning it up. That's
a good point.
I'll take that back. Here. So he drinks it, has the wands it, drinks it, fine. Said, all right, glass number 2. He goes, all right, since it's already going good. Has another one, no issues. And next day he goes, something's going on with those wands. I didn't have a single problem, man. Usually it'll get me within 30 minutes. I said, I know. That's also won't take the bet.
No.
So yeah, that's why I always travel with my wands.
That's awesome.
So you just leave it in there in 3 minutes or more, at least 3, give it a little swirl. And it just magnetically
take it out,
all the bad stuff. Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, man.
Perfect. So how's life?
Marinate. Kind of like my wand here. No, good stuff going on, all over the place. Lots of good things. Working with a friend of mine, colleague, we're very interested in a correlation between the side of the brain that shows injury, in traumatic brain injury. That's the big thing I do. I specialize in that. Mainly do necks. I'm a purpose chiropractor, but I happen to do TBIs too, traumatic brain injuries. So with that, what we're seeing is oftentimes the car accident patients, they tend to always have damage to their shoulder, to the rotator cuff. There's some kind of damage there, as well as the traumatic brain injury. The weirdest thing, but I see it time and time again. Order the MRI, order this fancy MRI series of the brain that my radiologist does, and I say, give me the DTI with all the trimmings, and he adds all this extra stuff, the neuroquant, the this, the that, blah, blah, blah. And then it comes out, sometimes 200 pages, showing everything and details all the wire bundles in the brain that were torn. And that's called shearing, or axonal shearing, because the axon is a nerve in the brain. So we'll see that damage, and it will usually be concentrated in one area or another. And it tends to have a side of the brain that lacks, or a laterality. Now, in other traumas, I see it more in the front, more in the back, but oftentimes, more often than not, I'm finding it paired with a shoulder injury.
Mm.
So that's how I always say, your
Well,
neck is your
connected.
yeah, your neck is your shoulder, and your shoulder is your neck.
Mhm.
Can't have one without the other. It's like your knee. Your knee is your ankle. Your ankle is your knee.
Yeah.
And so your wrist is your elbow. Elbow's your wrist. And
The whole thing is connected.
it is. It is. Your gut and your brain directly connected.
Yeah.
And via the party nerve. I always call it the party nerve. Vagus nerve.
Vegas nerve.
Yeah.
That's-
But different spelling, but still. And you know, we're thinking, we were sitting around talking about this, drinking wine, turning him on to wine. He's a orthopedic surgeon, getting him into some good wines. And we're thinking about this. What if there is a correlation between which shoulder gets injured and which part of the brain is injured?
Hmm.
Maybe they're opposite each other, or maybe they're on the same side. Don't know. But I mean, he has a couple of research papers already out there, and I don't like research, but
You like experiments.
I do, and I read the stuff. Have to, you got to stay educated, but I don't like performing the research. But in my practice, looking at this stuff all the time, every day, I'm seeing patterns, and now I'm starting to question the pattern. And he would be the guy to help me find out, is there some kind of relationship? I mean, he's a shoulder man. So, well, actually, whole arm. He does the whole upper extremity, but there may be something to it.
Yeah.
To see, hey, is there a side of the brain and the shoulder, same side brain, or are they opposite? Or is there no correlation whatsoever? Like smart people can put all this stuff on a graph and then they'll say, oh, well, based on this, and this, it looks like there's no association whatsoever. Or, maybe there is a strong association. I don't know. But smart people do that. Not for me.
Worth of basically the research on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Good.
think that'll be really cool. I think that'll be really
It's good. Well, let's cheers it.
Let's do it. Ta-da!
Cheers.
It's starting to open up now.
What do you think?
I'm liking that. Okay. Yeah. Getting better. You know, when I really like South American.
Yes.
Drink a ton of South American stuff. And I was really upset when one of my favorites disappeared. You guys. Don Melcor. He disappeared. Everybody found out about my secret that I've been drinking for years.
Now it didn't disappear. It exploded. Especially with after the Spectator picking it as a number one. Yeah.
Hurt me. Hurt. That was my secret, But discovered that Paul Hobbs recently, the Bromare.
Mm-hmm.
That was really
That's
good. Yeah, 'cause I always know Paul to be the California
Napa guy.
Yeah. But
they've actually been there for a while.
yeah. I didn't know he had any South American.
Oh yeah.
I just stumbled upon it by accident.
Well, I mean, don't quote me on that, but I think the partnership was an accident too. Yeah, I think the
So
partnership whole thing was an accident.
Vina
That
Kobos and
yeah, because he went to a
uh-huh.
winery over there and then um, they started, but it wasn't planned, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
Interesting.
but either way, they both incredible, and all of his stuff. I'm a big fan of Paul Hop.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the back to what I was getting at there, the association with that and French. I have not found a lot of French wine that has the body that I like. I like big, round, luscious, deep wines. And I've not found a lot of that in France. A lot of California stuff is great. And my wife and I used to have memberships at many wineries up there in Cali, from Saint Cyprès. Oh man, I forgot way back in the early 2000s. There's some hidden gems too. Like well, it was in Livermore, Ruby Hill, Ruby Hill Winery in Livermore. That was really good back in the early 2000s. I can't tell you anything about it now. But California, the terroir, makes for really nice wines. But then I found out, I never knew this, that the Americans have been adding sugar to their wine forever. I never knew that.
Well, you gotta see, like we have a little bitty land, and we're trying to produce for the entire world,
Yeah.
compared to France or Italy or Spain, that the entire country is a wine region.
Dedicated to it.
So yeah, I mean, you gotta speed it up somehow. But let's touch on that. So I mean, with what you like, I was just about to say, if you were a customer of mine, I would say, let me take you to Napa. And
That you-
yeah, let's talk
I love
about
it.
that. Yeah, like you back in 2000s, you had a membership, and now you don't even like go close to it.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well,
What's going on?
you know, one is Fukushima, the meltdown in Japan, meltdown in power plants. Also, there's the issue with just so much stuff in our country is so adulterated. I forgot how many chemicals you're allowed to put in the wine
Mhm.
and still call it wine. That's nuts. That's absolutely insane. And one of my friends was telling me that, yeah, that's what the Americans have been doing forever. And that gives you those big flavors. And he's like, dude, South America, it's South America. You got all that volcanic soil down there. That stuff is really old. It's a completely different world. So they can do that without all the adulterants. And then France, you have to work really hard to find what I'm looking for. Like that, what was it? St. Julian, you shared with me. Well, that's the region, St. Julian. But what was the wine?
It was a Louisville.
Loville?
Louisville.
Loville. I got to work on my France.
Franz.
I have the mustache though.
You know, that's a
I'm getting there.
foundation. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah, I'm getting there step by step. But um the wines, I just don't find those big
How was that
wines
San Julien?
great.
Was
Great.
that
You blew
close
my
to what
mind.
you?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
dude. I love that thing. I love it. I love it. And there's Margaux. Not all Margaux are created equal, but they tend to have more body. That's why I went to the Margaux. You're like, hey, pick a wine.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely like that. Oh, you know what? Pauillac,
Hmm.
those tend to be pretty good. Um, Chateauneuf du Pape, I like those Rhone Valley wines. Like that
Great
Jupiter.
value.
Yeah, man, that Jupiter that you guys have is great.
Great value.
All their stuff is really good,
Yeah.
and it's a lot heavier. Not all Chateauneuf du Papes are good either. It's a teeny tiny little place. It's more name than anything.
Sure.
But sometimes you do find some good stuff. Yeah, back to my big issue on the line, other than the adulterants that the Americans allow, is that radiation. And that's kind of some of my beef with France too, is you've got radiation because the nuclear power plants, I think, they're like masters of nuclear power over in France.
Hmm.
I think they're like nuclear geniuses or something. And most of their power comes from nuclear.
Yeah.
Now, the problem with nuclear power plants is that there's a little bit that escapes every now and then, not even by accident, just kind of part of the thing. A teeny tiny little bit of contamination that comes out. And that goes back to that bio accumulation, starts to build up. And then that keeps you away from some of the French stuff. I don't do it too much. I am exploring it, but I don't do too much. Because cesium is bad juju.
Well, the southern of the France would be the one that touched the or like um in danger of like effect of the radiation.
Well, to my understanding, they got reactors all over the place. I mean, you can put a
Okay.
reactor on a river because it just needs cooling, so it's everywhere. Never been to
Just
France.
shortly, briefly, uh, touching on this one. Let's say there was nothing for their electric generation or any of that, just from the water. Like, let's just talk about California. The land doesn't transfer that as much, right? Or does it?
It does. It does.
How far? Like, what's the ratio? Like the Washington DC wine, like the Virginia, or like the wines from Georgia, would that be affected by that?
By Fukushima?
Hmm.
Yeah, because it's in the jet stream. You have to look how the jet stream moves. So if we're talking about Fukushima radiation, give me a little radioactive wine here. See, it's working. It's working. So
Turning green.
no, but my French was improving. But the radiation that's coming out of Fukushima is being transmitted in the hydrocycle. And so, the water boiling off from from
Cycle
the
of the,
lakes
yeah.
goes up, rains out, blah, blah, blah. Well, you got the jet stream that is bringing a lot of this stuff over because one of the really bad things that happened in the beginning is the thing was an open meltdown, reactor 3. And they were watering it with seawater, which is a no-no according to the IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency, because it creates like super bad balls called buckyballs, basically like a medieval ball and chain with little spikes all over it. And you just bash people in the head with it, except for it's radioactive now and teeny tiny. So that stuff goes up into the atmosphere, gets taken by the jet stream. And when the things exploded, still a bunch of it went up into the jet stream. And it goes and it rains out over California. It hits, goes down the West Coast, across Texas, across the South, hits the East Coast, goes up Georgia, and blows out the top through Maine. Now, the nice thing is for us is that you have mountains. Mountains are just cloud scrubbers. So they cleanse a lot of that radiation. They're stripping that moisture out.
Hmm.
As the clouds pass over, they say, give me that. And take that water and keep it. And some of it still comes over, but a lot of it stays over there, thanks to those cloud scrubbers, aka mountains. But the big thing is that, as you were saying, the soil does it stay in there? Well, cesium 137 is one of the, there's 2,000 physical byproducts that come out of a nuclear reaction. But specifically, the reason why I do not like this guy, and I don't like any of the radiation, but cesium 137 will go to the most aerobically active muscle in the body, being the heart. Um, what it does in the soil is that plants that are high in potassium, they see cesium 137 looks just like potassium, like, ooh, that's sexy. And it starts absorbing more of it. It looks more yummy to the plant than regular old potassium. So now a plant that would be high in potassium, well, it swapped it out for the cesium 137. So you have higher concentrations of that in the plant. And then a big concern is wine, grape juice. Plant's gonna like some potassium. It's gonna suck that up. It's gonna concentrate it in there, and then we end up drinking it. Actually, you know what? We're talking about this. Let me pull this up. It was, I want to say, National Geographic. Let me see. I found it. Smithsonian Magazine.
Mm-hmm.
There was some discussion going on. Actually, the title of the article, because we were talking about, you and I, we talk about this a lot, and I'm telling you about the Fukushima stuff. Now we're seeing the radioactive shrimp and all
Oh yeah.
that. Now, what's really interesting about, now, take a little aside here, the radioactive shrimp. Where the hell's that radiation coming from? Nobody
Yeah.
wants to say, but they can take the isotopes out of the shrimp and they can tell exactly where it came from. Every single radioisotope can be traced back to a specific source.
Mm-hmm.
And they can do that, but they don't want to talk that. They don't want to talk about that.
Oh, risk
Man,
it.
come on, come on. Let's just call a spade a spade. I mean, they're coming out of Indonesia. Well, where does water come from in Indonesia? It flows down from Japan. Come on, dude. Toss me a bone here. All waters mix. Do they come to other places in the ocean where two waters come together and then they stop?
There's a border.
Yeah, there is. There's a cool place where that happens, but they're still mixing. They're not, they're very resistant to each other because of salinity, blah, blah, blah. But they're still mixing a little bit gradually. Everything is going to mix. You have these things called gyres where water concentrates.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've got one around Hawaii where it just swirls and swirls around the Hawaiian Islands. And that's pulling in stuff from other places. But after a while, it'll spin off and go somewhere else, and some of that'll go here, some of it'll go there. You've got plastic coming from, I don't know, Timbuktu. Are they on the water? No, I don't know. But let's just throw a random place out there. Let's say Australia. You know, you could put plastic in the water there, and it'll make its way to the Arctic sometime. Go from the bottom of the world to the top of the world. It'll float over
Yeah,
to
it does.
Greenland, or it'll make its way to Russia one day, somehow.
Yeah.
Just floating around. Um, but nonetheless, oh, other thing that is really disturbing why I stopped eating seafood. Okay, we're talking about the radioactive shrimp, right? But there are over 3,000 fuel rods that are in the Pacific Ocean to this day that were ejected from the power plant when it exploded. And the Japanese Supreme Court ruled in favor of TEPCO, Tokyo Electric Power Company, that those fuel rods were no longer theirs and want to clean it up. So they're just sitting out there, just chilling in the ocean. I mean, hell, the U.S. has dumped reactors in the ocean.
Yeah.
There's all kind of crazy stuff out there.
But I mean, like we're talking about this, and you obviously you watch what you eat and what you drink very carefully. But there's so many people out there that are drinking wine from California every day. They are getting that shrimp from Walmart or Sam's Club. They are getting those seafood from everywhere else, and they're still around.
It's true. It's bioaccumulation. It's not going to
So
kill
what's
you
the
today.
risk?
There's no way you can say the exact risk
Hmm.
because we don't have an input. In order to calculate something, we need to know how much is coming into the system at a certain rate. Then we need to know rate, what the danger
The
is of this
risk.
thing.
Okay.
Like they say, the LD50. Then you can say, okay, so much of this over this period of time will kill you. You know, we don't have that. It's just an environmental thing you just have to steer away from. It's just like fentanyl. Fentanyl is all over the US, and innocent people die from it or minding their business. They might just pick up something and, cops are busting people, and it's not even a drug bust. And for some reason, somehow they escalate that Terry surge into a drug surge, and they go in somebody's purse and they're like, what the hell? Oh no.
Yeah.
Fallout. So the stuff is every freaking where, and it's coming into our system. It's coming through the borders, northern, southern border. Maybe people are cooking it up in
Hmm.
houses. It's just like meth, but meth isn't as dangerous. I mean, this stuff is really bad. You touch it and you're over. So It's like that. How much of it's coming into the system? We don't know. Now with okay, I guess that's a bad analogy because you know how much um, fentanyl it takes to kill a person. But when we're looking at the body of the U.S. population, we don't know how much it's doing in per se. We can estimate
The
it's
average of
1,000
it or
deaths per
something.
year. Yeah, yeah. I mean, this stuff is dangerous, definitely, but it's that kind of thing, and it's much more dangerous in a short term than is this small amount of radiation in the short term. This kind of stuff is it's a quiet weapon. It's like this book. Let me pull this up. Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. So,
Silent weapons.
yeah, it's it's a quiet thing. It takes you out slowly over time. But nonetheless, this thing here that I found is a Smithsonian magazine. California wine shows traces of Fukushima fallout. And they say that they're finding some little bits of it in there, blah, blah, blah. And this guy came out with this method of dating wines. And it's all based on, hey, I can tell roughly how old this thing is. Truly, find out the facts on it. Because when they started doing nuclear testing, it contaminated wine around the world.
Mm.
Because all the wind is connected, everything's connected. It's just like we're all connected.
Yeah.
So the wine is absorbing the radiation, not just from Fukushima, but from all the open air nuclear tests that go on that we don't even know about. You know, they're in all different parts of the world, not just the US. So these guys are saying, let's see,
Which I thought like this French guy
yeah,
started that study, and then he was like, hey, California is exposed to it, and then they started testing it, and they came back, they were like, well, it's not that much to be worried about.
yeah, which I disagree with. But yeah, it's the National Center for Scientific Research. Yep, 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 yep.
Which I would get it. Why? I mean, like, just imagine how many businesses would go down
That's true. Certain
and
things you just have
under,
to keep
like,
quiet
yeah.
about. Yeah.
So it all comes back to the politics,
It's big
money,
business.
and then yes. So,
Sickness sells, man. You know?
but they were successful because so many people till today think that was just a myth, and there's no such a thing, and if there is, it's not gonna bother you. So stop listening to all of this BS that is going around, and just go drink it and have a good time, man.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So have you personally tested anything
No.
in your experience?
Mm-mm.
And then what do you think, like, some of the regions that are still safe, or I should say safer, in comparison, that you can get a wine from?
Hmm. Since everything is, I just want to add this a little bit. They put some icing on the cake. They raise their hackles for a bit and then they say, oh, they're there. It's okay. Although ingestion, I'm reading from the article here, although ingestion of cesium 137 can elevate individuals' risk of cancer, the World Health Organization states that the levels of Fukushima radioactive materials found in food and drink outside of Japan are too low to pose a public health hazard.
Of course.
Meaning that you're not going to drink and kill over and die. You're not going to drink and kill over and die next year. But
Eventually.
how do we know? Exactly, because it bioaccumulates in the body. That's the thing that's dangerous. Things that slowly build up. It's just like poisoning, those wives or maybe even husbands, spouses that poison their spouse
Hmm.
with antifreeze. Builds up slowly over time.
Yeah.
Different than nicotine. If you were to extract nicotine and just put it on someone and like let's say shake their hand or something, get it on their hand or put it on a doorknob where they grab hold of it, absorb through their skin, and it'll kill them. But antifreeze builds up, mercury builds up, lead. These things don't kill you immediately. The Romans drank out of lead cups.
Hmm. But there's so many things around us that will eventually kill you.
Yeah, microwave radiation,
There's so many of them.
cell phones.
Like, I mean, if you want to think about it, you're just gonna lose your mind.
No, I mean, you know that there are dangerous people out there everywhere,
Hmm.
everywhere. You know that one of the greatest killers of people are cars, be they
But
robotic
you
cars.
still get on your car for everything.
Bingo. You still go outside, more people die in their bathroom than anywhere. You still take a shower.
But that's what I'm saying. So there's so many things that I guess my question it would be like for you completely putting a California wine aside. I'm just saying that there's so many
Calculated risk.
other things that they have the risk as well. It would be how's the life? Let me just ask it as a question. How's the life for someone that wants to live an extremely healthy life today in 2025? Um, as far as the food here in US, which we know is garbage,
Right.
please. Um, the beverages are garbage.
Mhm.
The quality of like anything is basically garbage. And I had a good friend of mine on a podcast actually last time, and she had a very good point. She was like, "There's more money into sick people and people who are dying than healthy people.
Oh,
So
totally,
let's
dude.
just get them sick."
Yeah, because people are farms. That's the complex, if you will. The United States is very good at business. There are various complexes at work. You have prison industrial, military industrial, health sickness care. They don't care for your health at all because they wouldn't treat things, it would actually fix them. I mean, if they loved you so much, why don't they put iodine in the water? Why don't they put vitamins in the water? Or, I mean, they'll break down. That's why they don't. Doesn't make sense. But they could put trace minerals in the water. It'd be totally fine. They could, why don't they say, hey, flu season's coming. Everybody stop by your pharmacy and get an IV drip of vitamin C. Come on, dude.
Marketing.
Yeah. Why not D3? They know how powerful D3 is. It's more of a drug or a hormone than a vitamin.
Hmm.
Hey, flu season's here. Get your D3. We know that it significantly boosts your resistance against colds and flus. Come on. If they love you so much. No, it's just business, man. You keep them sick, you extract the money until they die.
Yeah, that's basically my question. So for someone that wants to stay away from all of that in today's world, especially in the US, what needs to be done individually? As a society, you can't do anything.
That is an excellent question. It's very complex because it is cheaper to get a drug than it is a vitamin. A good quality one. A good quality one's going to cost you. I mean, you can go get some garbage at
Walmart,
where
pharmacy.
yeah, gas station. I wouldn't recommend you put that in your body, but you could do it. Um, a lot of the pharmaceuticals, a lot of the nutraceuticals, the high end stuff, it is pretending to be high end, but it's actually not. A lot of that stuff is garbage. There's so many contaminants in most vitamin and like health supplements. It is horrible, all the crap that's in there. So it takes a lot of research just to find out what's clean. But I say that to answer your question in a very circuitous manner. Um, it is dependent upon one's financial resources
Hmm.
because health is something that unfortunately is a socioeconomic,
Hmm.
is socioeconomically controlled because step one, you'd have to be in a house where you can alter the water system so you can put in a water filter. Not necessarily. You can get countertop RO systems and blah blah blah. Now, I know somebody immediately is going to say, oh, RO is bad. It strips the water. Yes, you're right. That's why you need a post filter that's going to add some minerals back. Or you just take one little tiny rock of Himalayan salt and throw it in there. You wouldn't even taste it. And Himalayan salt, people are going, what? Salt causes high blood pressure, all this stuff. Nay. And that's a whole nother discussion. However, what the Himalayan salt does, it adds the trace minerals. And that's what we're missing. Now, we're so deficient in those trace minerals that you need them in therapeutic doses. But so you're not drinking seawater, just put a tiny rock so that you balance the water out and you're not drinking a vacuum cleaner. Because if you're drinking seriously reverse osmosis filtered water or distilled, you're drinking empty water. I mean, they can get this stuff so clean, so pure in a laboratory, like a medical laboratory. There's certain machines that have to crack open the cell in order to see what's inside and they can analyze it. They use reverse osmosis water, but it's like super, super reverse osmosis, and it cracks the cell open. It can study
But it
what's in
doesn't
there.
have any type of health benefit. I mean,
No,
food benefits.
yeah, it's absolutely deadly. You don't want that. But you're not going to get that for consumer grade anyway. You don't have to worry about that. But in the extreme, again, over time, if you continue to drink this empty water, you're taking from your body. It's just like, let's say, activated charcoal. Great for detoxifying once in a while. It pulls everything indiscriminately.
Wow.
Not a good idea to pull everything because you might
Mhm.
want to keep that calcium. You might want that molybdenum, that selenium, strontium. You may want those things for your body. However, you could use something that comes in with a little wisdom, such as bentonite clay. Bentonite clay looks for stuff that is particularly bad for you and pays you in the stuff that it has in its pockets. Like, hey, boss, can I get that right there? Let me get that. I'll give you some of this calcium.
Mhm.
Come on, let me get that. At least it's giving to you, and it's not indiscriminately taking because what's happening is it's trying to bond with stuff that's bad for us. The stuff that's bad for us has a positive charge. The stuff that's good for us is a negative charge. So that's why it's intelligently grabbing and not just taking
Yeah.
everything. So that will be the first thing. You got to invest in some kind of water filtration system. The next thing, I mean, these are just our foundational moves. And I need to, now you reminded me, I got so busy with the practice. I was doing my show. Can I mention it?
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Please.
Dr. Warren
Yeah.
show. I haven't done it in forever.
What
People
is
want
it
me to come
about?
back. Supplements, health.
Nutrition.
Yeah. I just got so into all the brain work I've been doing, the TBIs. I really like doing TBIs because a good bit, I mean, the brain's so interesting, but a good bit of health affects the brain because the gut. So back to if you want to get healthy, again, it's a socioeconomic thing because as you improve your health, you can also improve your income because the brain fog goes away,
Mhm.
because the brain starts functioning at a higher level. Essentially, your IQ goes up. IQ can increase within reason. You can't be a total rock and turn into Albert Einstein tomorrow. Not gonna happen. But you can do things to increase IQ by nourishing the gut. Okay. How are we gonna do that? Well, we got some clean water coming in. So now we're not getting let's say industrial runoff, random pharmaceuticals, chemical estrogens in the water, all this other stuff that is super bad for you. You're not getting that in the water. Next, if you want to go big boy level, put a whole house water filtration system, reverse osmosis, something like that, heavy duty. Clean all the water because your shower water is super bad juju. Don't put that stuff on your body. If you're not going to put it in your mouth, don't put it on your body. It's just like these crazy lotions and stuff. Everything you wouldn't go and take a bottle of lotion. Oh, that's good. Put it on a hot dog. Why would you put that on your skin? I love when I see that a product that says "Do not ingest," not keep away from the mouth. What? but you want me to put this on my body. You absorb stuff right through your skin.
Hmm.
So if you would not put it in your body, why would you put it on it? Just one of those things. So you have
That would
to,
change the whole thing, though.
you do have to change the whole thing. So now we're cleaning up the water. Next thing, we gotta go to our next level. Let's look around the kitchen. All the stuff that we use in the kitchen, super bad. Most people's kitchens are super bad. Teflon pans,
Yeah.
the forever chemicals. Okay, that is fluoride. Every time you heat it, it's just off gassing fluoride. You're gassing yourself and you're killing brain cells and doing all this bad juju. The fluoride goes into your body. Your entire body is one big gland. So iodine is one of the most important minerals in the body. It's debated, could be selenium. We'll say for this situation, it's gonna be iodine because everything, you are one big gland. And iodine is necessary for glandular function, meaning the brain, the guts, your eyeballs, your skin, everything. You need iodine. So fluoride is a cousin to iodine. He's a bigger, badder cousin. And he sees that iodine is a nice place to live. And he's going to come in and kick iodine right between the eyes, drag him out the back door, and slam it shut.
Yeah.
So that's why you don't want fluorine, bromine, um, and chlorine, fluorine, bromine, chlorine. All of them are related to iodine. They're all really bad for us. Iodine's really good for us. And they will push iodine, since they're all related, they can all fit in similar receptor sites. And they push the iodine out and they hop into the receptor site and they're like, ooh, I like this. And it just sits there and it
Just chills there.
I have a home now. I'm not going to do anything. I'm a bum, you know?
So by increasing the iodine, would that deoxidate the rest of them out?
Yes,
If you
it will kick
increase
them
that,
out. Yeah,
yeah.
because then iodine's coming in with force. So it's like,
Mhm.
okay, I see. You want to do me like that? All right. All right.
Okay.
I'm coming back. Don't be here when I come back. Then it's going to come back with more iodine and kick them out.
So